Hey everyone, it's Carla. Welcome back to my channel and to the final episode of my flight attendant vlog series. I want to acknowledge and warn you that the audio of this video is not super positive, but it is not my intention to be discouraging to anyone who's thinking about becoming a flight attendant, but just to tell you about my personal experience. I think this is a wonderful career opportunity for so many people. I personally met a lot of wonderful people and I got to travel to a lot of new places I might not have otherwise. If I regret anything, it's definitely not having started this career sooner so that I could have better seniority, because seniority is everything. But not really, just because I'm really leaning into trusting the timing of my life. And so I wanted to properly close out the series, even though I didn't really post very regularly, just in case anybody was following along and wondering what I've been up to since I last posted in January of last year. But also I'm hoping that I'll gain a little bit more closure, because I still have days where I wonder if I made the right choice or not. I did think about my decision for literal months before I decided to resign. So I know I made the right decision. I made the right choice for me. But I think it's my fear and anxiety about what's next that sometimes makes me really sad that I can't fly for free anymore. And I think it's like when you first come out of a relationship that wasn't working and your mind suddenly can only think of the good times, which makes it even more sad. But anyway, as I mentioned in my last video, once I returned to flying in April of 2021, I got displaced out of LAX and I got based out of Chicago, meaning that all of my trips started and ended there. And since I wasn't living there, I was having to take an additional flight, sometimes 2 flights, just to get to work, and then again to get myself back home after each trip. Commuting is like having another job in itself, because you're having to check into flights and then you have to be constantly checking the flight loads just to make sure that you can get on a flight. And then if it looks like you're not going to be able to get on the flight, figuring out an alternative. So you're always having to make sure that you're going to get to work on time, even if a lot of things are out of your control. On this particular trip, as you might have already noticed, I flew to Chicago on the day before my trip started, and then I spent the night in the crew room in the airport. Yes, flight attendants sleep in the airport sometimes. When I first returned to flying, I rented a space in a crash pad, but it just wasn't for me. A crash pad is basically a house or an apartment where flight attendants and pilots who don't live at base go to basically just sleep, shower, cook, and rest in between trips. So you don't keep your things there. It's basically just a spot to crash, hence crash pad. So in theory, this is a great concept, but there are a lot of things that are out of your control, including like cleanliness and noise levels. So it really is not for everyone. It wasn't for me. I did that for 2 months, and then I decided to rent a small room in an apartment from the landlord that I used to rent from when I first moved to Chicago out of training in 2018. The apartment was in a really cute area in Logan Square. This was an improvement, but I was still unhappy and always feeling homesick, so that's when I decided to be a full-time commuter and just sleep in the crew room or get a hotel room whenever I needed to. Since I was already going home as much as possible anyway, it didn't make sense to spend a ton of money on a room that I was never at. So long story short, basically I was burnt out and I didn't see an end in sight. I'm honestly surprised that I survived commuting for so long, because it is so brutal. I think that what helped keep me going at first was the hope that I would get my transfer back to LAX sooner rather than later. But as the months went by, it was clear that the company was not going to be sending people back to LAX anytime soon because of how much the base had been downsized. And of course, the free flight benefits also kept me going for a while, but then I was always too tired to go anywhere on my days off anyway, so I rarely ever went anywhere besides to Chicago and back home. Eventually, I realized that it felt a lot like I was forcing this to work when this lifestyle was just no longer for me. I was always sad because I missed my husband and my family and friends, and I was always tired, and I didn't enjoy not being able to establish a good workout routine or a healthy sleep schedule. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Once again, thanks for following along in my journey. If you do have any questions, comments, let me know. If you'd like to follow along with what I'm up to now, you can feel free to follow my new channel with my husband. It is Carla and Cesar's Modern Life, where we air weekly episodes and we talk about what's going on with us now. And we also try to give a little bit of advice, life advice, TV and food reviews, and some reactions. Thanks again for watching. Bye.